Do you have a calendar that you use to help you to be successful? I'm sure you do. But the question is, do you actually use a calendar to make yourself more successful? Welcome to episode 45 of the Cheeky Sales Coach, Scheduling Your Success. Back in episode 29, we talked about social media strategies, and a big piece of that strategy was scheduling. So let's get into some of the details about that today. But first, the word of the day is sales calendar, and the other word of the day is marketing calendar. These actually are two very different things. A sales calendar focuses on big events, usually divided into quarters or seasons. A marketing calendar focuses on smaller day-to-day and week-to-week events. Taken together, the sales and marketing calendars help you to literally manage your success by scheduling your success. You may have heard the old joke, how does an ant eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. It's the same way with scheduling things for your calendar. When you think about the year, it can be overwhelming. How much sales do you need to do in a year? How much marketing do you need to do in a year? Ugh. And then you get overwhelmed and you don't do anything. But if you break it into small pieces, a quarter, 3 months of the year, seems like a manageable chunk. Or you might choose a season, so the spring season, the summer season, the fall season, the holiday season. There are many different seasons that you can pick. They're even made up seasons. There's some holiday, and I think it happens around this time of year, when people have sheet day or bedding day or whatever, where people go out and theoretically replace all of their bedding once a year. Nobody actually does that, but they look for the sale because they know it happens every year, and they might go get a few new towels or something. You get to choose the seasons for your business. You get to choose the units, whether it's 3 months, 4 months, whatever makes you happy. Sometimes when you think about time units, a week might be so small that you think you can't get anything done. That's not true, but it can seem that way. And a year might seem so big that you can't get anything done, mainly because it's just such a big chunk to take. So determine which size of units you want to work with, set some goals, and make that happen. Now, here are 6 or 7 things you need to know about scheduling your success. Thing number 1 should not be a surprise. Set goals. So many people, especially in small business, don't set goals. They don't even set financial goals. Let's say that your business brought in $500,000 last year. Shouldn't you have a goal to bring in $501 or $510 or $550,000 this year? Maybe $600, maybe $1 million, right? You should have some kind of goal with 1 foot based in reality and 1 foot based in the future. But at a minimum, you should know what you expect to do. Some businesses are pretty steady month to month. If I can figure out what I did last month, then I can add a few percent and figure out what I want to do next month. Others are quite seasonal. Some businesses literally make most of their money in 1 or 2 months out of the year. Others follow the seasons because of agriculture or something else. What is your calendar? What does your year look like? And what do the goals look like? If you don't have a way to speculate month to month exactly what each month looks like, that's cool. You can use an average from last year. But you got to start somewhere. You literally have to know where you want to go, and it doesn't have to be dollars. Your goals can be set in terms of units sold or contracts signed or new clients or hours billed. There are many other things. They all relate to money, but it doesn't have to be simply money. Thing number 2, once you have goals, you need to set up measurements. I would just encourage you to be very careful here. There's a thing called Goodhart's Law that basically says when a measure of something becomes a target, it is no longer a good measure. The great example for me is always in customer service. We measure how many tickets are closed each hour by a technician. And so we start measuring this, and pretty soon we say, well, this technician closes 12 an hour and that one closes 40 an hour. So we need to get this technician to close more tickets. Well, that doesn't work, because what happens is people are now motivated to get you off the phone. And that results in poor customer service, because now everybody's trying to beat the clock. So something that was good, that was simply measuring performance, became a target, and now it's used to measure a target, which doesn't necessarily lead to good service. In fact, most cases of Goodhart's Law lead to poor customer service. Basically, we end up motivating people in the wrong direction. The classic case of this in the literature is about the state of India, the nation of India, deciding that they needed to get rid of cobras, and so they gave out a reward for every cobra, every dead cobra that was brought in. Great, that worked fine until they realized people had set up cobra farms to breed cobras so that they could turn them in and earn the reward money. Whatever you do to reward people, that's what they're going to do. So be very careful when you start setting up your measurements. Now, if you're the only person, you're not likely to fool yourself, but just be aware, you never know what actually goes on inside your head. Realistically, when we talk about measuring your performance, measuring your success, what we mean is you need to track how many dollars actually came in, how many contracts got signed, how many new clients you had, how many hours were billed. All those things that make up the measurement of the performance of your company need to be laid out and written down and followed up month by month by month so that you can draw charts and graphs and keep track of all of it. There's no point in having goals if you don't then measure the results. So you got to take care of both of those things. Thing number 3 follows from that. You have to actually generate the reports. I recommend that you determine the form of your reports before you start anything else. That way you know what your goals are, you know how you're going to measure it, and you know how you're going to report it. Most of this has to do with the sales side of things. Remember, sales is where you have to have a return on investment. So if you're going to do Google ads, for example, or Facebook ads, you should know exactly what you're spending on ads, and you should know what that behavior leads to. So do these ads actually get people to click on your site? If they click on your site, does your site convert? Remember, we talked about how every little piece has to do its job. Measure it, measure it, measure it, and generate reports. Thing number 4 gets us into marketing. Remember, marketing is forever, episode 42. Unlike the sales calendar, which is a big, broad overview of the important things you need to do in a year, the marketing calendar needs to be in somewhat more detail. For example, if you blog, how often do you blog? Will you blog once a week, twice a month, once a quarter? It can't be too rare, but it probably doesn't need to be 4 times a day. If you post on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, how often will you post? If you have a group on Facebook, how often will you go in and ask a question? If you have an online community, how often will you log in and stir up some conversation? Those things never take care of themselves. Remember my motto for life? Nothing happens by itself. Well, it's certainly the case that's true with marketing. So when you think about your marketing calendar, you need to have daily, weekly, and monthly targets. And we'll get back to how much you need to forgive yourself, but basically you have to have some target, otherwise you'll just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Some people, myself included, have daily targets for what I do on social media. Now, the good news is I also have somebody I pay $250 a month and she does most of the work. So I meet my targets because I pay somebody else to take care of it for me. You have to figure out exactly how you're going to show up and what works for your company, but doing something on your schedule is huge. Thing number 5, start small and make it manageable. And I just mentioned forgiving yourself. Here's the thing. Let's say you start by blogging once a month. If you skip a month, you need to just forget about it. Don't worry about it. Don't fall into the trap of saying, oh, I failed and now it doesn't matter and nobody cares, and then you're not motivated to do it again. No, if you fail, if you stop doing something, that's okay. Start up again. You get to start every single day to begin moving in the right direction. If you do something for 5 years, no one's going to care that in year 1 you skipped a month here and there along the way. What matters is that you gain the habit of doing what you promised yourself you were going to do. Once you have the habit, it becomes easier and easier to do these things. But you have to actually set up a schedule first and then go make it happen. And when I say start small, I mean 1 blog a month, 1 note on social media a month. And then you can move it to 1 a week. And then you can move it to every 3 days. And then you can do whatever makes the most sense for you. But make it manageable. Don't start out by saying that you're going to blog every single day. You're going to put up a new video every day. Because you won't. If you're not in the habit of it, you have to build those habits in order to make that happen. Finally, thing number 6, you need to put it all together. You need to post your annual sales calendar. You need to post your daily, weekly, and monthly marketing calendars. I love whiteboards for this kind of stuff. You can put up a whiteboard that basically says, these are the things I'm going to do in each of my social media. These are the things I'm going to do for YouTube and Twitter and so forth. And then put little X's when they're finished. Keep track of it. What you're going to find in the big picture is that the more attention you put on your schedule, the better you are at reaching your sales goals. Even though you don't think of it, you don't say, oh, I did this. I did a blog post and it earned me $2. No, that's not the way the world works. When I blog more and more and more consistently, people follow me more and more. They check back, they pay attention, they read the whole thing, they share it with their friends, and sales go up. There's a time lag. All sales measures are lagging indicators, which means that something happens and then you get to measure something that told you that that was effective. So you spend money in sales or marketing, and then there's a lag and sales take place, and then you measure it. There's a serious lag, and you don't know, it might be months and months before you actually are able to measure this. But you have to do the measurement. You have to start when you start setting out those goals, and then you'll begin to see when you compress your calendar and you look at it a year at a time, each year should be better than the previous year. I can't promise every month is going to be better than the previous month, but probably quarter by quarter it's going to be better. Certainly this quarter this year over this quarter last year should be better. The bottom line is it's a big, messy, complicated thing, and you got to get your arms around it, and you have to start somewhere, because if you don't start, you're never going to do it. And yes, when you look at the big picture, it looks like an elephant. But remember, you're an ant. You only have to take one bite at a time. For the Cheeky Sales Coach, this is Karl Palachuk, wishing you the best of luck in everything you do. Call to action. like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss a thing.